Hey everybody, it's Heiden here, and I'm back with the Lodrik versus Heiden campaign, War in the Pacific, Admiral's Edition, Scenario 1. This is the 28th of February, 1942 turn. This is the last day of February before we go into March. So this turn's going to be a mess, I think. We've got lots of convoys around New Zealand that are at imminent threat of destruction. I've done all I can to throw up some roadblocks and put up some diversions, but I don't know if that's going to work. And then we also have China, which is always a mess. We have Burma. We have the air war over Rangoon. That could be. We could have major raids going in there too. So there's a lot of stuff going on this turn. And then at the end of this, I'm going to talk about the state of the game for March and talk about my strategies. Let's see how it goes. Okay, here we go. February 28th, 1942. Let's finish out the month of February, and hopefully it's not too bad. I'm kind of expecting it to be bad. All right, grabs the base in the Philippines there for free. These are our coast watchers reporting certain ships in port. Patrol moving to cover. What? I've never seen that. Something about patrol moving to cover. Oh. There's again. The gudgeon misses again. Man, that's a bummer. So fortunately for us, we are in deep water. Look at the size of this. I think it's the same thing we saw the other day, but look at what's in here. AKs, big ones, APs. You know they've got troops aboard or had troops aboard. So it's always a bummer when your subs keep failing like this. If this was a Japanese sub, he would have hit something. So they get away. Patrol moving to cover. Look at this. This is not what I wanted to happen. This is not. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. Look at this is a battleship. Oh, we're so screwed. Oh no. He's all over us. All right. Let's just get to it. This is so bad. This is so bad. What? No way. Okay, so the Congo is here with a ton of destroyers. These guys, this is an entirely new task force here. Have not spotted these before. I don't know where these guys are coming from, but they're just coming out of nowhere now. He's got ships everywhere. Shockingly, though, we don't outright get blasted, although I don't know how many times we're going to be able to survive this. Most of our ships take hits, right? This one's probably going to go down. This one might go down, but apparently during that transaction, the Yugamo takes 2 shell hits, a torpedo hit, on fire with heavy damage. He may lose the Yugamo, although I would gladly trade that for my task forces not being intercepted like this. I wish he'd just leave us alone. Oh, God. Oh, don't take it. Don't do it. Oh, well. That's the end of that one. You know, I should have just let it go into Ramry Island. I thought we'd be safe, but this ship's already damaged. This sub is out here still, and this guy takes a torpedo, and that's the end of that. Dang it. Alright. Nope. Come on, guys. Can somebody please do something here? I don't understand why my night bombers can't ever do anything. Well, this isn't going to go well. So here we go again. Lodrik is doing a night air attack, and he's escorting at night. I didn't know you could even do that. Let's see what these Chinese aircraft can actually do here. But this is really interesting to me now. So he is attacking Changsha at night, and he did bring in these night fighters, but they're not doing anything. So maybe you can't escort bombers at night. Let's see what these guys can do. It'd be nice if our fighters could actually, you know, shoot something. Yeah, what a joke. You know what? This is why night bombing is such a bunch of crap, because the fighters get some sort of debuff, but the bombers don't. So the bombers are basically impervious, right? And the fighters can't do anything. This is stupid. That's fine. Whatever. Alright, so Lodrik with his nonsense nighttime bombing comes in. Our night fighters go up and try to do something, but don't. He causes minimal damage to the base. And he loses at least 1 aircraft destroyed and 6 damaged. And it does appear that the fighters did not get involved. So that's good to know. Let's see if now this is another test here. No, I don't know what the point of that was. So my fighters don't intercept and they'll at least get through. So minimal damage to the base. 1 Lily damaged. At least my SB3s get in and do something. Well, they try to anyway. They accomplish nothing. Alright, so here he's coming in again, and our night fighters are up again. I would love it if they could actually shoot something down here. Oh, there we go. So we get 1. Alright, so what I'm deducing from this is that Lodrik is using long-range cap. I believe that's what this is, but I don't think it works at night. I don't really know that you can escort bombers at night. This is kind of proving it to me. His fighters that have come into the Hex have been completely ineffective as far as stopping my fighters from attacking. We do shoot down 1, and it does not appear he gets any real damage onto the base. Alright, let's try it again. Do you see how strong the bombers are against my fighters? Normally an An is a garbage plane, right? But apparently at night they're superstars. And this is why I think night bombing is really stupid. And it should be curtailed. But we don't have any rules against it, so I just have to endure it. We damaged 2 more Ants. He does no real damage. Okay, so that was a very busy night. Well, kind of knew that was going to happen. That was a ship that was damaged yesterday. So, that was just the night air phase. We still have daytime stuff to go. Lots of it. Man. I cannot believe how many ships that Lodrik suddenly has in New Zealand. It's ridiculous. Well, that's not going to go well. But, on the flip side, I'd rather this ship get attacked than those transports. So whatever this thing is, it looks like an APD or an AVD. It's completely yeah, AVD. It's a goner. So let's just go ahead and show you the end of it. Yeah. So the AVD goes down, takes 2 shell hits, 1 torpedo, and is sunk. But in return, we hit the Hamikaze and cause it to catch on fire. It won't sink, but it's something. So the AVD McFarland did what it could, and it's distracting the Japanese. All right. Oh. Okay. So now we know exactly what he's got in this task force. He's got a heavy cruiser, 3 destroyers, and this carrier. So I'm kind of glad that we're seeing this. He's going to take this ship out, or not. What? Okay, so the Hiryu is here with the Nachi and 3 escorting destroyers. So now we know exactly what's here. Somehow, some way. Oh, that's why. Look. Your carrier task forces are very averse to surface combat, even when they have all the advantages. In this case, we have a single AK going up against all these guys. This has no chance of winning, but the task force commanders, like, at all costs, we must protect our carrier. So they try to break contact, even when they have a winning hand. So fortunately for me, this carrier task force is not wanting to get involved. So he's got to hear you here. All right. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again. And it did. See, so let this be a lesson to you guys. If you have a carrier task force, don't expect it to do any kind of surface combat. If it does, it's going to be minimal. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen. I've seen it happen before. When their hand is forced, when they're up against the wall, they will fight. But if they have the advantage, they'll take it and they will leave. And there it is. All right, and again, I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happens here. Okay, in this case, it did not. So, for whatever reason, this... let me see here. Maybe because the range got so close that the... There you go. Look. Just see how the interaction is going with the Hiryu, see? It's screened from combat. It doesn't want to get involved. All right. So we'll probably lose that ship with the amount of damage it took. This is pretty fatal here. Well, it's still alive for now. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Things are going as good as they could possibly expect to go in New Zealand. Despite the completely outrageous situation we have going on with all these ships down here. It's really, really stupid. I don't want to say stupid. It's shocking, surprising, you know? Oh, man. So now we're on the AM air phase. Interesting. He's using his... Guys, he's using his zeros for strafing. That's cool. He's running out of he's running out of aircraft. He has to use these guys for this. All right, that's fine. All right, so needless to say, the Kingfishers are gone. All right. So there he is using his fight. Oh, look at that. He's using his fighters from bombing at 5,000 feet? How'd they even hit anything like that? Whatever. Lame. I would have strafed, but, you know. Okay, that's the AM phase. So far, so good. Alright, that ship's down. Sorry, Commander Dodge. Kingfisher, sorry about that. My apologies to your death. Oh, we're in. Let's see if we... Oh, yes! Yes! They're in port. I knew it. Look at this. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Awesome. Oh, yes. I'm getting really excited here. I called it, guys. I totally called it. His ships were in port. The ones that we hit before, he disbanded them there, and now we're tearing them up. Oh, yeah. Some payback, dude. This is what I'm talking about. Totally what I'm talking about here. Oh, dude, we're gonna smash some ships, dude. Something just sank. You heard that, right? You hear that? Something sank. So, look at what he did, man. Just with 8 bombers, just 8 bombers, we hit... So the Holland, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 ships in port, only 8 bombers, and I got something to tell you. I got way more coming in, so this is gonna be good. See, there's more coming. We'll finish off whatever's in there. Nice. Nice. Yeah, these 300-kilogram bombs are no joke. Sweet. So we hit 2 more ships with big bombs. And I have more coming. Well, there should be more coming. Who knows if they actually flew or not. Oh, here we go. More zeros on naval attack. Cause, damn, look at all this. Look at all this. Isn't this ridiculous? Alright. This is one of my bait ships that I put out there. Looks like we're attracting some attention from his... Wow. I'm just shocked to see zeros on naval attack hitting anything from 5,000 feet. But apparently they do, and that ship's probably going to sink. Okay, well that's it for the PM phase. Wow, this turn is wild, man. Okay, I knew that was going to happen there. Oh! Oh! Well, you know what, guys? I've been saying he's been needing to do this. So here we go. I'm actually kind of shocked that he didn't bring battleships in here before. He finally wised up. Maybe he heard me talking to other people, or someone was like, dude, what are you doing, man? So, okay, so we just got a hit on the Hyuga, but that 75mm gun won't do anything to it, really. Or shouldn't, anyway. I know it shows some smoke here, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. Oh, okay, that might do a little more damage, so... let's go ahead and fast forward. Oh, the Issei's here too. Didn't I say that he should have brought the Issei and the Hyuga out here to do this? I'm just quite shocked that he didn't before now, so... Let's fast forward and see what the damage is going to be here. Okay, so... honestly, what Lodrik just did here is totally what he should have done. I'm really shocked that he didn't from the start. So, he brought in the Issei, the Hyuga, the Yamashiro and Fuso, which are you're kind of like your super dreadnought battleships that he's got, the World War I vintage ones, but they're perfectly fine for this sort of thing. We got a couple hits in the Hyuga, and apparently we hit this slight AKL with 2 shells. I doubt it will sink, but we hit it. Unfortunately for us, this is bad. He caused a lot of damage to us with the bombardment, which, quite honestly, he should have just done this from the start. If he's going to take Tarakan, it's going to be within the next turn or two. This is pretty bad damage for us. All right. So he's bringing in another SNLF unit. All right, now he's landing here. Okay. So finally he went heavy at Terracan. Let's see what happens with the land phase here. So he's finally going to take Christmas Island. That'll be a freebie for him. Alright, so the Royal Trash Army in Malaya is going to take another try. They're starting to really bleed us dry here now. We're out of supply, we're out of everything. That's it. That's all the ground combat this turn. Okay. Got a few forts and things getting built up here. It's all good. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, that's all good. Got some bases expanding, which is always good for us. Alright, so let's see if we got any reinforcements coming on map this turn. I don't recall. I don't remember looking. Definitely a wild turn. Okay, we're just finishing up the last of the... Oh, okay, that's a new ship. That's new. Okay, getting some more S-boats in San Diego. I think we'll need to get those out into the South Pacific ASAP. Okay, another ship. These are what you're seeing now are some transferring units. Nothing new here. Okay, that's new. And that's new. That's new. All of these are new here. This is good. These are Marine squadrons. That's new right here. That's definitely new. Okay, a lot of squadrons coming in. These are all Marines. That's new, and that's much needed at Colombo. Okay, wow, what a turn. Let's analyze this thing. Whew. Whew. Man, this turn was rough, man. And it's not getting any easier. Look at this mess in the South Pacific and New Zealand. Lodrik ships are just multiplying like amoebas. Yeah, well, we'll get to that, though. Let's go ahead and start with our normal situation report. So aircraft losses this last turn, surprisingly low. According to this, we lost 2, he lost 7. He's reporting 6 ands. Well, that doesn't actually add up, does it? Well, there's a little bit of discrepancy here, as you may see here with Fog of War. But as of right now, we're showing 6 ands and 2 zeros for 1 PBY4, which sucks because I don't get those back, and 1 PBY5, which I believe to be Dutch. So 2 to 7 in our favor. Top pilots. Of those 2 aircraft that were lost, only 1 had a wounded pilot, nothing more. Looking at pilot replacements in the pools, we'll take a look at the wounded pilots in the group. Looks like we have a lot of pilots coming back in the fray here. All these wounded pilots here have return dates, so we'll go ahead and start transferring back the rest of these guys to the reserve. And hopefully a lot of them come back to us. All right. So that's all of the wounded pilots in the group. In the reserve, a lot of wounded pilots still. Unfortunately, not a lot of them have return dates yet. Look at that, Tanner B, still hanging in there a bit. He doesn't have a return date either, so it's starting to look more and more like wounded pilots in the reserve that don't have return dates are never going to come back. We have been testing that over the last few weeks. I'm getting really close to calling it, though, because I haven't seen any movement with any of these guys. But there's the due dates for those pilots and other pilots coming in. So there we go. Continuing on, the Army lost points did go up a little bit because of Terracan last turn. Lodrik came in with the bombing, a bombardment task force, which he should have done weeks ago. And then now the big story for this turn was ship sunk. Let's take a look at this. It's interesting. So it's we lost ships, but apparently so did he. So here's what we see: the Tanakaze, which was a Kagero class destroyer, is reporting having sunk near the northern tip of New Zealand due to collision. I don't believe that. I believe this is the Yugamo that was hit and damaged during that initial confrontation with our transports. But it's hard to say. This is definitely fog of war type stuff, so we don't really know. This Hakazaki Maru, which is a a Japanese patrol boat, you know, the three pointers, which I love to sink, is reporting having sunk at turn 8. And quite honestly, I think we sank more than that because we hit a lot of ships there. But, you know, I'll take that for now. Now, what we did lose was the Tiarkidis, which was very unfortunate. Of course, Lodrik subs make an appearance near Rami Island and torpedo it as it's trying to get back to Akyab. I should have just sent it to Rami Island. It would have been better off, but I just forgot about the subs being out there. So, a torpedo and it's dead now, which is a shame. It's a good destroyer. A very good destroyer. We also lost the McFarland and the Wasmuth and the Kingfisher. These are all good ships, but I had to sacrifice them in and around New Zealand just to try to distract Lodrik's aircraft and ships from going after the more useful stuff. We also lost the Manukai, which is another bait ship out in the near New Zealand. And this Alice Moeller, which I knew was going to sink anyway, that sank as a result of damage incurred 2 turns ago at Rangoon. So those are the ships sunk. I think more Japanese ships sank than this, but this is what we get out of the fog of war. All right, so here's the stats. We are now on March 1st, 1942. So we've been in this war almost 5 months. 4 months. Let's call it 4 months. And this is what we've accomplished so far. He's still in the lead. He's about 5,200 points ahead of us now. Slowly creeping forward every turn. Now, let's take a look at the combat reports. I'm just looking at the first top part for any kind of minesweeping activity or anything else that might be useful to us that we don't see during the animations. And right off the bat, I'm not seeing anything important here. All right. SIGINT. I'm going to start reading through this. So Singapore's got some radio traffic. Nagasaki as well. Yokohama has some radio. Recon Regiment loaded on APD Fuji to Benkolin. Benkolin. Let's take a look at that. That's in the Dutch East Indies, right? Where is Benkolin? Where is Benkolin? You know what? I know how we can look it up. I'm not seeing it. We'll go to bases. Look for Benkolin in the list. Is that not one of our bases? Oh, it's one of his bases. I see. Okay. So, but this is still good. So, it's on Sumatra, but we have some SIGINT here that says he's moving troops to Benkolin, which supports the theory, excuse me, that he's going to invade Palembang via land and not via naval assault. So, he's bringing troops into Benkolin to march in to Palembang. So, this is how you can use Allied SIGINT to kind of figure out what he's trying to do here, right? Let's continue on. All right. All right, that's the only thing I've seen here that looks at all useful. Second Fleet Surabaya, okay. 90th Regiment at Anshan. 1st Air Division, Nagasaki. Okay, all right, that's it for the SIGINT. Now, let's talk about Ops Report. As always, I'll read through it. and I'll point out things that look important. All right. Scrolling through here. A lot of sighting reports as always. These are 2 of our ships sinking here. More sighting reports. Another ship that sunk near New Zealand. The Japanese only captured Christmas Island this turn, which I thought they'd have a little more ground activity, but they didn't. A bunch of bases here, expanding in size. The Benham is available at Sydney. It's great. Couple. The first Marine changes its name to Wake Island Detachment. All right. Okay. So here's something. The Hakozake Maru is reported to have been sunk near turn 8, so we know that that's pretty certain that it sank. All right, and then we get 6 new S-boats to San Diego. A lot of these units are transfers here. This is a new ship, the John C. Fremont of Portland. We get 4 new Marine squadrons at San Diego. 5 Marine squadrons. 1 at Pearl, 1 at Midway, another one at Pearl, another one at Midway, and the K squadron at Colombo. And that's all the new stuff for this turn. Okay, let's talk about the situation. We'll start in China like I always do. So, in the northern part of China, in between Xi'an and Lanchao, we don't see any activity at all this turn. We do know that he has moved about 55 bombers into Xi'an. And quite honestly, I don't really know why, because the air capacity of that base is 1, so they're going to be extremely limited as to what they can actually do. But whatever, he's moved them in there. We don't see any further movement north at this time, but we continue to build up our forces north of Xi'an. So we have these guys here with 1900 AV. We have these guys here with 1600, and we have another 2400 south of them that's going to split up and build these 2 hexes up. And I think we'll be able to hold here for quite a while. Other than that, no activity here. So again, this turn we experienced another one of Lodrik's night bombing campaigns, but I feel this time it did not go so well for him. He caused basically no damage to Changsha. We lost no aircraft on the ground. And our Chinese fighters actually managed to shoot something down. Let's see, where was it at? Let me see if I can find the guy that did it. Yeah, this guy. No, that's not him. That's not the one. Where's he at? This guy got a kill. So, our Chinese fighters did manage to do something here. Now, granted, they're flying at night, so that's not helping them. But so is he. But here's why I don't like night bombing. The gunners on the bombers don't seem to have any kind of issue shooting, but your fighters have some sort of debuff as part of the game engine, so they don't shoot that good, but the bombers do. So the bombers are even more impervious at night than they are during the day. That's why I don't like night bombing. I've complained about it, and this is why. And this is why in the Helsing game we have rules against that many aircraft night bombing because of that sort of thing. It's gamey. But I don't have rules against it here, so Lodrik is doing what he's allowed to do. That being said, he appeared to have been using LR cap, long-range cap, over Changsha, and it was completely ineffective at escorting his bombers or doing anything to stop my fighters from getting involved with his bombers. So that's the trade-off. If you want to go at night, you're not going to be able to escort them. You saw his fighters not getting involved in the action. So we're going to keep our Chinese fighters here. I'm going to keep them on night. If Lodrik wants to keep trying to bomb at night, we'll keep harassing him at night. And that's just the way it's going to go. What I think he'll do now is switch to daytime bombing. And I'm not going to take that bait because if it's daytime, then all those fighters that he's sending in will be in play. And these little Chinese things I got have no chance. Absolutely no chance against Zeros and Oscars. So we're going to fly at night or we're not going to fly. And that's just how it's going to go, because I cannot risk my fighters here against his fighters during the daytime. At nighttime, I can take that all day. Other than that, there was no real activity on the ground, no bombardments, no other bombing other than night bombing at Changsha, really. So it was pretty quiet in China for once. We continued to build up the forts in Changsha, which is great. And yeah, we're recovering assault value every day here in Changsha as well, because we're just not really being pressed. The overall supply situation in China seems to have been getting better by the day. I have far less little exclamation points and things around the map than I did previously, which is great. Changsha's the only one, but it's always got a big draw because it's got a lot of troops there. We're building stuff. We have aircraft there. So it's always going to have a huge draw for supply, and that's fine. But we're not hampered by it. See the troops. They all have supply. The base has supply, so it's really okay. We just don't have the 3 times amount that we're supposed to have, which would extinguish that little yellow exclamation point, but that's okay. So, taking a look a little further towards Burma, I am in the process of relocating my fighters back to Rangoon, and I'll tell you why it's very important here in a minute. I have some P-38s that have already got back to Rangoon. I've got AVG that's going to have to hopscotch their way back because it's just the way that the bases are. We just have to... That's just how we have to get them back. But within 2 turns, I'll have the bulk of my aircraft back in Rangoon. And I'll tell you why that's important now. We have a huge problem. You remember that thing? You know, that Kido Butai thing? You know, Lodrik's big carriers? Well, we just found them. Look at it. Here they are. The Kido Butai is back. And they are loaded for bear. 80 fighters, 110 bombers. That is a substantial unit. My carriers in Ceylon could not go to battle with those right now. And I'll tell you why. If you guys were around for my live setup the other day, you would know that I took the fighters off of my carriers that were previously operating near Andaman Island, and I moved them into Rangoon. See that? These wildcats and buffaloes. I brought them over here because I expected another attack here. So I basically have no fighters left on these carriers. And now his carriers are back. If we had stuck around here another day or two, we'd be dead now. So I am so glad that I read the tea leaves and I said, I need to get my carriers out of here because I've been hanging out too long and I don't know where Kido Butai's at. And if they were to show up right now, we'd be screwed. And sure enough, he managed to teleport his carriers into here without me seeing them previously. And now here they are. And they're putting me in a difficult situation. So here's my problem. We have 78 fighters and 110 bombers on this task force here. In Bangkok, because I used some recon last turn, we found out that he's got 102 fighters and 153 bombers and 163 additional ancillary aircraft, auxiliaries. Those are going to be your patrol planes, your trainers, your float planes, things like that. So, what if Lodrik wanted to do a combination strike next turn on Rangoon using bombers and fighters from here and bombers and fighters from here? The most likely target would be Rangoon, right? Well, here's a problem. I only have 140 fighters there. He's got 180, and on top of that, he's got 153 some odd bombers here and another 110 there. If you wanted to go full bore against Rangoon, I think he could level it. And quite honestly, I'm expecting that next turn. So write this down, mark my words. I am almost certain that Lodrik is going to plan a major attack on Rangoon next turn. And I don't have all my fighters there that I need to defend it. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to defend it anyway. Here's what I am also going to do. All these bombers, which have proven to be completely ineffective to me, because I've been using them in night bombing attacks, I'm pulling them out. I'm going to relocate them to Calcutta for now so we don't take needless losses here at this airfield. If he wants to bomb the airfield, if he wants to attack Rangoon and do that sort of thing, I don't want these aircraft caught on the ground in case he attacks the airfields. So we're going to take all these bombers and relocate them north for the time being until this threat subsides, or I get more fighters back in there to cover everything. Because I just don't want to throw away these bombers on the ground for nothing. What's going to have to stay are all the fighters, at least one set of PBYs, possibly two, just to keep tabs on where everything is at right now. But everything else I'm going to evacuate. And that will help me with the admin level and the aircraft stack level, so that if he does attack, we don't take excessive losses on the ground due to overstacking. So all these aircraft are going to get pulled out and relocated out of here just until we figure out where he's going. Another concern that I have here with the Kido Butai being back, I knew he'd bring them here too. I just knew it. Ceylon is now in danger, because if he wants to come this way with that many bombers, I only have on Colombo, we only have 80 fighters. That's equal with him, and I don't think that's enough. So we won't be able to get rid of enough of his bombers to keep them from hitting ours. So I am going to probably plan on this aircraft carrier task force not going back into Colombo, but going further up, maybe to Bombay temporarily. And then in addition to that, I'm going to pull out all the essential ships that I can out of Colombo, just in case, as a precautionary measure, in case Kido Butai comes over to Ceylon and tries to do a naval strike. Now, what I can't get out are these two things. Okay, the ships. Unfortunately, I've got two carriers that are now stuck in the shipyard. So this guy, might as well just leave him here, because whether I bring him back to full operational readiness or I leave him in Pierside, it's going to take 3 days. So I might as well leave him in Pierside, because then he'll be ready to go. After that, I want to get him out. The or what else was there? The Yorktown, unfortunately, is kind of stuck. I can't get it out right now, so not going to be anything I can do except hope and pray he doesn't come to Colombo. And I also need to find a way to rush more fighters here as soon as possible. But we're just stuck right now. We're in the phase of the war. We don't have enough assets on the map to defend everywhere. And if wherever this guy wants to go is going to be a huge threat to me. So, primary threat is to Rangoon. Secondary threat is to Ceylon. I'm not worried about the rest. So we'll have to wait and see, but I do feel that there's going to be a major attack on Rangoon. It'll probably have a lot of fighter sweeps first. So he'll probably send the fighters from here on a sweep over Rangoon to start whittling away at my air cover. And then it'll follow up with bombers out of Bangkok, heavily escorted by fighters from there. That's my guess. In addition to everything else I just mentioned to you, we also have this thing spotted moving northeast, which would be this direction, right? It says it's got a CS in there. Who knows what else it's got? It might be some bait, or it could be an invasion. I have no idea. I don't have enough spotting on that to know exactly what it's got, but it's another task force in the area that just walked right through my subs as if they weren't even there. So there we go. Carriers here, patrol craft here, and something else with at least a seaplane tender there. So the Bay of Bengal is getting hot again. Burma's going to get hot. Ceylon's going to get hot. Kido Butai's back. Let's see what he can do with it. But I am expecting some casualties here. Not much else to report on Malaya right now. Just these two units out here dying. We build unit. Yeah. What if we build that unit? Hopefully that helps, right? It's a brigade now. Look at that. We built it into a brigade, so it should be better, right? These guys are just whittling away here. We know he's got troops coming to Benkolin. He's in Jambi. And I think he's going to start converging on Palembang from 3 directions here soon. I'm in a rush to try to get these aircraft restored so I can get them out of here. On Borneo, he finally bombarded Tarakan. Didn't really cause a ton of damage, but he hurt the troops. So, we took a lot of casualties to the actual troops themselves, right? And unfortunately, that bombardment also knocked out the bulk of our coastal defense guns. So that's going to make it hard for us to repel any further seaborne landings. We did get a few hits in on stuff, but these 120 millimeter guns, we lost half of them basically that are disabled now. And it's just a matter of time before Tarakan starts to fold. We are going to be able to get these aircraft out, and I'm going to continue evacuating them to Kindari. In fact, let's go ahead and just do that now, since we're talking about it. So we're going to transfer these guys to Kindari. Take these guys definitely back to Kindari. Sweet. So that'll bolster our fighters. Now we only have 5 fighters left on the ground in Tarakan, and we're getting about 2 to 3 back per turn, so we should be able to evacuate those soon. At Balikpapan, he did manage to get some minesweepers into there. That's what those are. Those are coastal minesweepers. Hopefully these subs can do something here and intercept these guys as they're coming back out. Now, a little bit of good news on the Philippines. If you take a look at this, we opened up the hex side. We were able to sneak that unit in to Cagayan. So now what we're going to do is set everybody to move. Set them to march. And now we're going to evacuate all these troops from Cagayan back to Malaybalay, which is much better terrain for us to defend. So Lodrik did allow us to do that. Now, if he wants to attack us, that's going to be another issue. Hopefully he doesn't. He doesn't seem to be interested in attacking at Cagayan right now. Maybe he thinks we're stronger than we are. So we're going to evacuate these troops back into Malaybalay, and we'll just hold up there. But he's slowly capturing more bases in the central part of these islands here than Panay, Samar, Leyte. And then he's also into Iloilo. That's what it is. Iloilo. He'll take that out soon, and then the rest of these bases will fall. But the last real place that I can defend in the Philippines is going to be here on Mindanao. So we'll do it. On a happier note, the Dutch East Indies, as far as like the Bandit Sea, the Sarum Sea, Celebes, all this area is getting hot. We had a fantastic bombing raid on turn 8 last turn, where we took out at least one patrol boat and damaged 5 or 6 other ships in port. And we see that he's actually moving ships further in to turn 8. I don't know why. What we're not going to do is repeat the attack, because Lodrik's not dumb and he knows that he's got damaged ships here. So all he's got to do is fly in some zeros from Balikpapan, Surabaya, Babel, and he's going to put them here, and they're going to fly air cover. So we are not going back into Tornado in a bombing mission. We have plenty of other targets to engage. So we have these guys moving in west. We have these guys moving east. Okay. Not sure what they are. It could be bait. I don't know. I wonder if these are carriers. I'm not sure what that is. I think we're getting baited here. So I think what I might do this turn is stand these guys down and not take any bait, because I know we had carriers over here. They seem to not be here now. Now we have this thing here moving intentionally towards Ambon, where he knows that we're strong. I think this might be the carriers detached and trying to bait our bombers into attacking it so we can shoot them down with the zeros. So I'm playing 3D chess again, like I always like to do with Lodrik, and I'm not going to take the bait, and we're just going to wait. We'll let this guy pass for one turn and see exactly what it is and go from there. If it ends up being that carrier task force, then great, then we know it's there and we can start dealing with these guys. But if it's something else, then we'll just put these guys back on naval strike, and we'll go back at it again. So I'm gonna use discretion as the better part of valor for this turn. I'm gonna wait until we have better eyes on this task force, this one, and this one before I set these bombers to go back into action. I will say this: these Dutch 139s have finally proven to be worthy of something here. All right, we're all stood down. They're finally doing something. and that's awesome. Okay, we had some bombing that was good. We've done some ship stuff. It just finally it's been a struggle with these bombers for the entire campaign, and to see them finally being able to produce and do something worthwhile is really nice. I just wish it hadn't taken us 4 months of combat to get to this point where our Dutch bombers are being effective, but they are now, and we'll take that in stride. All right, let's continue on. We are moving a ton of troops into Darwin. Let's see here. Because they spawned into Catherine last turn. We're going to move everything into Darwin because why not? We have tons of supply there. We're about to have a lot of air support, and we may be able to start turning Darwin into a base that we can use for offensive operations. It's certainly got enough air support there now. So I'm going to keep building up this base, and we'll start looking at ways that we can be offensive-minded with Darwin. I thought that Darwin was in imminent danger of being taken because I thought Lodrik was going to go through here a lot faster, but he's not committing heavily to this part of the Dutch East Indies and Darwin right now. So I'll take that opportunity to get stronger there since we seem to be getting a lot of troops in there. All right. So in Perth, we have some ships unloading. Almost done with the fuel out of Cape Town. Dumping that off there. Okay. Getting closer to the action. Everything's looking nice and fine over here in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. The actual coastline of Australia has been pretty quiet. Okay. Now, let's talk about the big situation, and that is this mess right here. All right. So, Lodrik's ships have suddenly seemed to have multiplied. So we went from having one task force to deal with to 5. So we had a lot of activity this round. And I'm gonna be honest with you. This cruiser task force, there was some strange behavior at the beginning of the turn where they didn't do what I wanted them to stay with this task force the whole time, but they broke off and it ended up not engaging anything, which seems bizarre to me. And because they abandoned that, this task force here got shot the heck up. All right? But shockingly, none of it sank outright. Let's look at the combat report. So here it was. The Congo, which showed up out of nowhere, this was not to be found before, with 7 destroyers. I don't even know where these guys came from. I don't know how they got down here so quick. Lodrik's magic show, I guess. They attacked all of these ships here and somehow sank none of them, which is just unfathomable to me that the Congo couldn't do more than that. We did have a lot of ships take hits, right? But none of them sank. And because of that, now we have this weird situation where his battleships appear to be here now. These guys are almost to Wellington in the relative safety of Wellington, right? These troops are going to get into Wellington next turn. We have this escort task force that is heavily damaged. I don't believe this ship will make it. I think it's going to sink, but I'm going to make a run for Waipapakari anyway, just in an attempt to try to unload these guys, right? These ships survived somehow. We lost a couple. Now, don't forget, we lost about 4 ships out here last turn, but I split them up intentionally to give Lodrik some bait, and for more or less, with the exception of the complete failure of this task force here, escorting these guys, his ships took the bait that I left out for him, and we're able to break off here, and get these 2 task forces basically down to Wellington, where I feel they'll be safe. They'll be protected by a minefield. And I don't think he's going to push into Wellington. He doesn't even have spotting on him. If you see that, there's no spotting on these. There's no spotting on that. No spotting here. No spotting there. That's not spotted. That's not spotted. So basically none of my task forces are currently spotted. So this is a huge opportunity for us to get clear of a lot of his stuff. So here's what's still at risk. These guys are still at risk, and this ship may just sink on its own because of the amount of damage it has. I don't think we're going to make it. This ship I'm actually going to return back to Raoul Island because the bait is no longer needed. Okay. These guys need to get them out of town. They're running now. They'll be fine. These guys need to continue to retreat south. And honestly, they're almost out of fuel. So here's what I'm thinking for these guys. I'm going to bring them further down here. All right. We're going to bring them down here. And hopefully they can meet up with these ships to refuel. Actually, let's do that. Set waypoint. All right, let's do this. We'll set the waypoints further down here so that they link up with these guys. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And we can refuel that way. These guys are going to be in the clear. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're going to be okay here. The most important convoys are basically safe now. And whatever's left, like, we may lose these troops here. But this base force only has, you know, 500, 400 troops on it and a few guns. Nothing critical. So even if that thing did sink, it's not the end of the world. These troops are going to get back into Wellington. So I think we're out of danger as far as the troops are concerned, temporarily. So here's what is dangerous. This heavy cruiser task force is still at risk. And it's basically out in the middle of all these guys. So we have his cruisers over here. We have unknown quantity there. Battleships here. Something else here. And his carriers over here. Alright? I don't really... this is not the final destination. I haven't decided which direction I want to go. I quite honestly feel like at this point, these cruisers should probably just head for Sydney. Because it's just not safe anywhere else. I don't want to go this way towards Noumea, and here's why. Look at this. Another task force. These are the carriers that were previously at Luganville. But wait, there's more. There's more stuff at Luganville now. I'm losing track of, like, where is he getting all these ships? How is he getting all these ships into this area? None of these were here a few days ago, and now all of a sudden we've got battleships, cruisers, carriers, all over the dang place. I don't even know what these things are. I'm hoping that these are... Shoot, I don't even know what these are. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. It says there's battleships and escort carriers, but I don't even know. What I do know is that they're probably going to head down this way and try to cut these guys off. And if there are battleships in this task force, I don't want to fight them. So I'm going to go full speed this way, and we're just going to hang out in Sydney until we have a better read of the situation. So I do think that these cruisers are strong. We have radar-equipped ships. See? Granted, that's air search radar. Well, that may not help us that much. Either way, I want to get these guys out at this point because they've done their job. The rest of these ships should be fine down here. I don't know if Lodrik wants to push this deep into New Zealand. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I'm not even certain that I want to send them to Sydney. So more to come on that. I'll make my decision later on. But we just have a huge situation over here. And we have more ships. Look at this. More ships now appearing on the map. These guys have 6. These guys have 7. I just don't know where they're all coming from. 7. 5. 6. 2. This is just more ships than there were last turn. The Congo was nowhere to be seen previously. Now all of a sudden it's here. I just don't get it. It was previously at Luganville. How he got it all the way down here, I just don't know. Taking a look around here, the Gudgeon once again missed. This captain, I'm going to fire his butt when he gets back to base. I am completely unimpressed by his performance. missing that many torpedo shots, that many days, he's fired. All the ships did clear out of Rabal, though. We have these two guys spotted moving southwest. They are claiming to be cruiser mine layers, so he's probably moving to put mines at Tulagi or more at Luganville. It's one of those two things. Alright, let's scroll further around here because I think we're about done talking about this turn and what we spotted. We're not really seeing a lot of other ships on the map that I haven't already discussed. It's pretty quiet. Alright. So, that is the turn. I think the most dangerous part of the situation in New Zealand is okay for now. We do have a few more ships at risk immediately. The next big thing that's going to be on the horizon next turn is the Indian Ocean again. Rangoon, Ceylon. With the reappearance of the Kido Butai, anything is possible, especially with that many aircraft in Bangkok. I'm pretty comfortable with the situation in China right now. I think we're back to a stalemate situation, more or less. He can't break through at Changsha. We're strong down here. We're reestablishing our lines up here. So he's kind of contained at Xi'an and down here at Changsha for the time being. And we're already into March of 1942. I feel like if he was going to have a major success in China, it would have happened already. As the months go on, we're just going to get stronger, and he's not. So I'm feeling okay about China for the time being. I'm not feeling okay about this situation, at least for the next few turns. And I'm very edgy about this because the ships just keep turning up every turn, more and more and more. And I'm just not understanding how he's getting them in here. And it's driving me nuts. So, this is March 1st. So what I'm going to do now, as if this turn weren't long enough, is I'm going to kind of go over the state of the game as of March 1942 and talk about how my strategy is now changing. So I'm going to take a quick break, get a drink, and then we're going to take another 5 or 10 minutes and talk about how my strategy is going to evolve going forward as of March 1942, because so much has changed since a month ago. So I'll be right back with you, and then we will talk about the state of the game. All right, so I'm back. I want to talk now about the state of the game as it sits in March 1st, 1941. So we've been playing for 85 turns, almost 3 months. I don't know if I said 4 months before, but it's been almost, let's see, most of December, January, February. Okay, let's call it 3 months. 3 in-game months. Here's the situation now. I feel in China, we have more or less neutralized Lodrik. He's still deadly because he has a lot more troops than we do in certain places, but we've managed to stop him in many of the most important places. We couldn't hold Xi'an indefinitely, but we put up a good fight and we delayed him for 3 months, and I believe our new positions here are fine. He also has basically all the northern bases up here, and that's fine. He can have them. They're undefendable to me as it pertains to this campaign anyway, so they're all his. But what's important is Lanchow. I cannot lose that, and I feel like I have enough troops there from this direction to protect it, and I feel like these 2 hexes that we're going to defend in here are going to be good. So we may have stopped Lodrik in the north. We've definitely stopped him at Changsha. So as far as the month of March goes, my strategy is going to be doing the same thing that I'm already doing. I'm going to maintain positions I've got. We're going to hold strong at Changsha. We're going to hold strong north of Xi'an. And we also have some backline defenses over here. And I think that's the way it's going to be for the time being. Until Lodrik does something else drastic here, I don't see him digging out of this hole that he's in. He's stuck where he's at. So I feel like China is under control. So, is Burma under control? Yes and no. It's under control in as much as that we have not been facing a ground invasion. But what we do have in this area is not a total amount of control in the Bay of Bengal, the Andaman Sea, and in the air. We don't have control there. And it may take me a few weeks to fix that. So what I do have control over is the ground. For whatever reason, Lodrik decided not to go heavy here in Burma. So I feel like this is our chance for a counterattack. And I want Burma and Thailand to be the center stage of my pushback in this campaign. Initially, I was thinking that the South Pacific was where I wanted to be offensive-minded, but the recent events near New Zealand have got me thinking twice about that. But one thing that I do know is that Lodrik has chosen to go in very weak in Burma, or not at all, and Thailand. So I am going to start rotating more and more troops through India into Burma to launch ground attacks into Thailand with the eventual goal of capturing Bangkok. That's what I really want to do. And I know I'm not going to get it done this month, and I may not get it done in the next 2 months, but by June or July of this campaign, I want to own Bangkok. So I'm going to start making preparations to that end. I feel like we can do it given Lodrik's lack of commitment to this theater. Granted, we do have these threats. We have the aircraft, we all that, but I'm going to start shifting more and more aircraft and resources into Burma, and I'm going to start building up these bases up here, making Rangoon a size 8 airfield, because once we get size 8, it doubles your aviation support, your native support. So whatever you got there, it makes it times 2. And that's huge. That means we can operate so many more aircraft out of that base. We can get this thing all the way up to size 10 if we wanted to, because it's already naturally a 7. You can go 3 over. So Rangoon is going to be critical towards my power projection into the rest of this theater. And then if we can capture Rahang, Pisan, New Loke, Chiang Mai, we're well positioned to start a push down towards Bangkok. So start expecting to see me shifting more troops, more personnel, more aircraft this way, because this is where I feel like we can be strong, because Lodrik's not strong here. Keeping with that, I'm going to strongly consider moving a lot of these air assets that are not restricted towards India. So a lot of these aircraft that are out here chilling, I'm probably going to pack them up and start shifting them into India and furthermore into Burma. And we'll use the routing through Eastern USA over to Cape Town, and from Cape Town probably into Bombay or Karachi for safety's sake. And once they're there, we can rail them down to Calcutta and fly them into Rangoon. Or we can start using these bases up here. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of options, but I want to start getting more aircraft into this region, because I feel like that's been one of my huge issues, is not having enough fighters. Not enough having enough fighters to cover Rangoon, Ceylon. I'm having to constantly shift fighters from China to Burma to Ceylon and back, because I don't have enough. And now we're in a situation where I'm caught out of position with a lot of my fighters stuck in China and a large threat here in Thailand. So I want to get another 100, 200 fighters into this region over the next month. And I'm going to start working towards that. And they're going to be coming via Eastern USA. All right. So in the Dutch East Indies, we basically lost all this stuff here. Also in the Philippines, it's more or less done. We're just fighting delaying action in Mindanao. But I have no illusions to being able to hold this indefinitely. So I know all of this is going to be gone. So I don't even want to talk about it, because there's nothing I can do to really stop it. This is the only place we've been able to have any kind of measurable success in the Dutch East Indies. Our aircraft have been very successful at taking out his ships and damaging his stuff as it comes in. Do you remember when he attempted to invade Kandari and our Buffaloes basically shredded the entire task force? Well, we just did something at Ternate that was big. And I think we can replicate those results around here. But again, I'm under no illusions that I can hold this stuff indefinitely. If Lodrik really wants to take all this stuff, he'll take it. So I'm just going to fight delaying actions and damage what I can along the way. So, Port Moresby. For whatever reason, Lodrik elected not to take these bases here. And I think that's a huge mistake. And he has not really attempted to do a lot of heavy air attacks on Port Moresby. And he made a mistake. because we've been able to build it up into something pretty substantial. We have a lot of troops there. We have a lot of supply there. We have an air base that is now capable of successfully operating 4-engine heavy bombers. So since he's given me this opportunity, I'm going to take it. So I'm going to start getting more troops of the aviation variety, the aviation support variety, into Port Moresby. And we're going to start operating our 4-engine heavy bombers out of here long term. And we're going to start plastering the ball as often as possible with 4-engine bombers, B-17s, B-24s, that sort of thing. Over the next month, start expecting me to pivot these 4-engine bombers at Kumak over to Port Moresby, and we're going to start a heavy bombing array attack on Rabaul, because we need to put some pressure on Lodrik. This is his base of operations to power project further south. If we can start damaging this base or causing him to shift more resources to protect it, it should, in theory, take a little bit of heat off of us down here, right? So let's talk about the South Pacific. You see how many troops I have on ships, right? I have troops everywhere. I have aircraft everywhere. Initially, in the previous weeks and months, my plan was to make the South Pacific the base of my counterattack in this campaign. But I can't do it without carriers. And I've already committed my carriers to India. And it will take me forever to get my carriers back down here. And even then, I don't know if I can with the Kido Butai now being here. They're here. So I don't think I can get my carriers safely out of here right now without attracting attention. I don't know. I know you want to be where the Kido Butai is not, but right now we're just too... With losing the Enterprise out here a few weeks ago, it really put me in a bind because I don't have enough force to concentrate to take even this out. We should be getting the Hornet soon, but it's not enough. So, that being said, I don't feel like I have enough naval assets to properly get my troops where they need to get safely. I wanted to get all those troops that are now stuck near New Zealand into Noumea, and initially I thought I'd be able to do that because I didn't think Lodrik would commit his ships that far south, but he did. And it's just, it's an eye-opener to me that he can do that so far away from his main bases. Luganville is not a base to be operating ships out of right now. Look at the port capacity. So these ships are all sailing from Rabaul, and they were able to get that far down there. So that just tells me that it's not safe for me to be moving troops through here. And it also is letting me know that we're not ready to counterattack here until we have sufficient air cover to do it. And I don't know, that could be months before I have enough carriers here to support offensive operations to retake Luganville, to start working my way up through the Solomons. I don't see it happening. So I'm going to discontinue sending troops and aircraft and support out to the South Pacific. Whatever's out there is what we're going to have, and that's it. Any future troops that I'm going to be shipping are not going to be going to the South Pacific. They're going to be going to India. Because remember how I told you before, my strategy moving forward is to start counterattacking into Thailand? Well, I'm going to start using American troops to do that as well. Because I feel like we've stabilized the situation out here enough that while he definitely has naval supremacy, I don't know that he's got land supremacy. So I don't think I need to commit any more troops out here right now to hold what we got. But I definitely want to get strong in India so that we can attack and take Bombay. I'm sorry, not Bombay, Bangkok. And from there we can start going any direction we want. So any further troops that move from the United States are going to be going via Eastern USA, via Cape Town, and into India, and they will be railed and moved to Burma to attack. That's going to be my strategy for March 1942, is to start shifting my troops and my priorities from the South Pacific to the Indian, Burma, and Southeast Asia area of operations. Now, in doing so, we're going to strengthen the Burma Road, which will in turn help China because we're going to start moving more supplies through this road per turn. We will eventually have this situation under control where we have naval supremacy again, and I'll start being able to move supplies from Rangoon into China. But we're going to have bottlenecks at places like Lashio where we have a supply cap of 1250 a day for movement. Pao Shan is going to be a bottleneck at 300. This base at 300. If we build up these bases, we can increase this capacity of supply, and it's going to start trickling into China and make us even harder to uproot from here if we have more supply coming in from Burma. So that's the plan for March of 1942. Shift focus from the South Pacific to India and Burma via American troops and aircraft operating in this area. So I think I've been talking long enough. This video is probably being extremely long. I hope I haven't bored you, but I wanted just to kind of give you an update at how I'm going to work my strategy going forward, because I just think that we know enough about what Lodrik's plans are that I see where he's weak, and I want to capitalize on that. I think now is the time to capitalize on an attack into Thailand because he's just never committed the troops to this. So, and down here, it's just not safe to be trying to operate my ships down here without more naval ships to cover them. So I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired of losing ships, and I'm tired of now we're going to have tons of troops on New Zealand that I wanted on New Caledonia because I can't protect them to get there anymore. So that's the plan. We're just going to stop sending them, and we're going to start sending them to places where we can protect and be strong. So that's it for this video. Thank you for sticking around with me on this campaign for so long. I started this campaign in May of 2022. We're already into late November. We have 90 days of game time here, and you guys have been around since the beginning of it. And I hope we get more people watching this soon, and I hope you guys enjoy what's happened so far, and that you continue to enjoy it because I'm having a great time. So until the next time, I'll catch you guys later.